Happy Monday. We have a huge 14 game slate. Let's talk some basketball. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven, and we're back to talk some NBA basketball on a ridiculously huge slate of 14 games. Another weird week of NBA scheduling. We got 14 games on Monday, 0 on Tuesday, and then like 4 or 5 on Christmas Day as well. And speaking of Christmas Day, we're going to try our best to get a video out. We'll have to record a little earlier for the Christmas Day games. Also, same for the NFL. And speaking of the NFL, the Monday Night Football Best Bets video and the Week 16 recap, that video is out now, so go check that out. But let's get into it. You guys know any graphics you see will be from an app called OUTLIER, the best player prop research tool on the market today. It is incredible. I use it every single day. If you guys want to try it out, click the link below for the 7-day free trial. All right, we got to get started with that dad joke on a Monday. So here we go. This is, it's all right. What did one candle say to the other? Do you want to go out tonight? Not bad, huh? In this video, we are going to recap the weekend. It was the weekend of the hooks. I'll just say that. But then we're going to talk defenses versus the point guard position. The defenses that give up the most points, rebounds, and assists, and then the least points, rebounds, and assists. And we are now switching over to the last 30 days, not over the course of the entire season. And then we're going to take a peek inside the lines. That's right, ATS and over-under numbers to help you guys out with your own betting. And then we'll talk the best bets and wrap it all up with the recap. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment below if you have any time at all to help this channel continue to grow. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button as we're on our way to 35,000 subscribers. If you want to join this awesome community, Discord's completely free. Link is below. We talk sports every single day and night. So that's what I got. Let's get it started. And that means it's recap time. All right, call me Captain Hook. That's right. It is incredible. We got hooked 3 times over the weekend. Luckily, some of these were half-unit plays. We get over it, but frustrating as all get out. Bobby Portis over 12.5 points. I didn't watch these games on Friday, but I know he had like 9, maybe 7 or 9 at halftime. It was looking great, and I think he ended with 9. Maybe took 1 shot in the second half. I don't even know. I can't tell you. Bam Adebayo got off to a good start, and then they finally settled in and made him pass the ball a little bit. But he hooked us. I think it was within the last 30 seconds or a minute. He scored his 17th point and ended on 17. And then Saturday, Austin Reeves didn't have a great shooting night and still ended with 25 PRAs to hook us. It doesn't matter if it's low number, high number, we got hooked. And then PJ Washington over 7.5 rebounds. We got hooked with 7 rebounds. Unbelievable. Seriously, this is just how it goes, though, in NBA. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. And then we finished with 2 winners. Bradley Beal over 17.5 points, never a doubt. Norman Powell over 21.5. Scored about 30 in that one, or at least close to it. So 3 of our 4 losses were 1 away from a win, and the 2 winners were easy. So that's what it was. Again, some of these were half units, so not a crippling weekend or anything like that. But there's the under tracker on player props, 32 and 17 on the unders. There's the overall record and the breakdown of everything. We are 106 and 88 on the season, up 8.43 units. So that's the recap. And now let's talk the point guard position. All right, we start out with the defenses giving up the most points to the point guard position. We're going to do a new position every day of the week like we always do, but now it is the last 30 days, just so you guys know on where we're getting these stats and how many days and all that. So anything in green means that team or player is playing today, and then, of course, the color-coded matchups, that's who's playing today. So Raptors facing the New York Knicks, Brunson averaging around 25 points per game, with the Raptors giving up almost 26 points per game. And then we got the Nets giving up 25.1 points per game, facing Tyler Hero of the Miami Heat. He has been playing point guard now for this team. He's averaging 24.2 points per game. So those are the 2 matchups, and all the rest of the guys. Take a screenshot. Hopefully this helps you get some winners. Now let's go over to the rebounds, and it's getting wild, guys. We're just getting crazy on a Monday. Rockets facing LaMelo Ball, 6.6 rebounds per game. The Rockets are giving up the most rebounds to the point guard position at 7.9. And then we got the Wizards facing SGA and what should be an absolute blowout with a spread of almost 20. SGA 6 rebounds per game. Wizards 7.2. And then down there on the bottom, of course, we have 3 teams tied, and all 3 of them have a matchup. So we got the Portland Trailblazers facing Luka Doncic, 10.7 rebounds per game, and then Portland 6.5. Miami Heat 6.5 facing Ben Simmons, who last 3 games has played 30 minutes or more, I believe, right around that range, as the starting point guard after Dennis Schroeder got traded. And then Memphis Grizzlies are facing James Harden, who's averaging 4.6 rebounds per game. So That's all the colors we got for the rebounds. Now let's go check out the assists, and we got 3 matchup. Blazers again facing Luka, 9.3 assists per game. And then Lakers facing Cade Cunningham, 11.5 assists per game. Lakers giving up 9.4. And then the Bulls down there facing the Milwaukee Bucks. We all know the Bulls play at a fast pace. Damian Lillard, 7.4 assists per game, although I don't think he is playing now that I think about it. So just be sure. Obviously, you won't get props if he's not playing anyways, but he is facing the Bulls at 9 assists per game they're giving up. So that's all the research help for the point guards and the overs. Now let's check out all the tough matchups. And here it is, guys. I mean, I don't know what to say. Everything's green except one team because 14 games out of 28 teams out of 30 teams are playing. So there it is. So everyone's playing, but the Thunder are really good against point guards, as we talked about before. We faded point guards against them, giving up the fewest points and the fewest assists to the point guard position. Again, this is the last 30 days. They are absolutely elite defensively, defending the pick and roll and the point guard position. And then there's all the rest of the teams, as you see there as well. So hopefully these help you out. Again, we'll do a point position every day of the week. This week obviously will be a little different with Christmas week and no games tomorrow and all that. But that's the point guard position. And now let's take a peek inside the lines. All right, we haven't done this in a few weeks, and we want to talk about the best teams against the spread at home, best against the spread on the road, and then some over-under teams and what that looks like this year so far. So this is over the course of the season. Orlando Magic 10-2-1 ATS. If you're looking at ATS plus minus, you can look at the handy-dandy glossary. Average amount of points the team covers that spread by. You can see the Magic are an absolute wagon at home. Now they've been getting injured left and right, so I'll take that for what it's worth. But the Memphis Grizzlies, they're at number 3. One of the best home ATS teams, and they are covering by a country mile. 8.3 points per game they are covering the spread by, winning 12-16 ATS. And then there's all the rest of the teams, 1 through 10 with the Warriors and Lakers. If it's minus 0.1, obviously that means they're just pretty much staying even with the spread. So anyways, that's what we got for the against the spread teams at home. Now let's go look at the teams on the road. And we got the Brooklyn Nets. Now, they played well to start the season, but it's not been the case lately. Traded Dennis Schroeder, no Cam Thomas. I mean, it's a different team now. But still, 10-4 there, plus 5.1. And then we got Memphis Grizzlies. They're still good on the road as well, plus 6.7. And then OKC Thunder, who just can beat anybody. They're 9-4-1 ATS on the road, covering the spread by 5.2 points. So there's all the rest of the teams. Hopefully this kind of helps you out for you guys that bet spreads a lot and all that kind of stuff, because I know I do a little bit more player props, so I want to help you out. And then also let's go over to the over-under records now on the season. The Denver Nuggets, the best over team in the NBA, which is crazy because I think it was just last year they were one of the biggest under teams in the NBA. So things have changed obviously with them. 17-8 against the spread. Well, 17-8 means they are 17 and 8 to the over. So 8 have gone under, 17 to the over. And then the total plus minus, same kind of thing with the against the spread numbers. They've gone over the total by an average of 7.9 points per game. So it's been a pretty huge under or over team. Obviously the lines will adjust and stuff, but Cavs, Hawks are the next two at 19 and 10 to the over. But then you move over to the under team, and you know what's no surprise because OKC Thunder, the number 1 defense in the entire NBA. 17 of 28 games have gone to the under. And it's gone under by quite a bit, minus 6.7. So the minus just means under instead of over, obviously. So they've been going under the totals by that many points on average. And then there's all the rest of the team. So hopefully this kind of just helps you out. Lines do kind of average out eventually. We did have the Bulls as a big over team earlier. They kind of dropped down a little bit as these lines and totals went up for their fast pace and kind of how they're playing. So that's what we got for a little peek inside the lines to help you out. And now it's time for the best bets. All right, this first one takes us out to Philly, where the 76ers host the San Antonio Spurs. Sixers minus 5.5. Total in this game is 218. My best bet is the big man. Give me Victor Wembanyama, over 25.5 points plus assists, minus 120 on Bet365. He has been on an absolute roll lately. Let's hop into Outlier and check out some more numbers for Mr. Wemby. We're going to start last 10 here. So he's over this line in 7 of the last 10. He's really starting to heat up. He's averaging 32.5 PAs per game in these last 10 games. Again, we just need 26. Coming off 2 huge games with 47 and 33 PAs. Now let's dive more into the numbers. Let's scroll down and kind of see what Outlier has to offer here. How about the last 10? Averaging 33.5 minutes per game. And you can see that's even with last game when it was a blowout and he played about 29.8 minutes, but 30 minutes per game. He's playing mid-30s minutes consistently in competitive games, as you can see. And then if we go over to field goals, we can tell he's just shooting a ton, and that's what you like to see. You like to see a lot of volume, averaging almost 20 field goal attempts per game in the last 10. And if you go to the threes, this guy is shooting a lot of threes. That's right. The big man can shoot. He's taking around 10 threes per game in the last 10 games. 23 threes attempted the last two. He's knocked down 11 of them, around 50%. So the volume is more than there for him to get over any. He could get over this in his points alone easily. But let's go look at a potential assist now. And as you can see over there on the left, he's averaging about 9 per game. That's quite a bit here. So the points line is 22.5. I see this line at 25.5. So really, we just need 3 assists to break even. 4 plus dimes means it's now a discount on the points line. He has the ability for big assist games. He has 5 or more dimes in 6 of the last 10. So that's why I want to include the assists here. Rebounds have been kind of hit and miss for me. But if we go to the matchup now, look over at centers. It's in red. It's a tougher matchup. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But honestly, Wemby's not your normal center. So they are top 10 defending points and assists. But Wemby is a center who can handle the ball, hit threes, attack the rim. You guys know he's not some guy that just gets dominated by decent defenses. And I don't even think Philly's that great. Obviously, Embiid's going to play. I don't think he can keep up with them in this one. Just too much volume. He just needs like a decent night with that volume he has. And I think we're going to be good. So if they want to double him sometimes, he can get some assists that way as well. So I love the points and assists here. Got to ride the hot hand. Give me Wet Bananas over 25.5 points plus assists as my first best bet. All right, we haven't done one of these in a while, but it's time for a money line parlay. That's right. Give me the Heat and the Grizzlies on the money line, minus 123 on DraftKings for 1 unit. We'll start out with the Heat. This should be the easier leg. They are at home facing the Brooklyn Nets. Now, the Nets were a scrappy team to start the season. It's not really been the case. They just had too many injuries and different things. So the Nets, no more Dennis Schroeder, got traded to the Warriors, as you guys know. Cam Thomas is out. This team is struggling offensively. And let me just tell you what just happened last game. They played the Utah Jazz, literally the worst defense in the entire NBA, and the Nets scored 94 points. It's not pretty. They have Ben Simmons running point guard, and he is not a scorer. As you guys know, he's scored a little bit more lately, but he's still not a scorer. They rely on Cam Johnson to have big games, and he's not a guy that just creates shots for himself over and over. I expect the Heat, who are a team usually with Spoelstra, who kind of focus on the number one scoring option to slow him down. I almost went with Cam Johnson under PRAs, to be honest with you. But either way, I think the Heat focus on them. Their lineup is going to be Ben Simmons, Nick Claxton, Clowney, Keon Johnson, and then Cameron Johnson with a weak bench. It's just this team is not pretty. They actually have a true shooting percentage that is 30th in the league. It's not pretty. Now, the Heat. This is a team that most people say I'm never betting them, and I get it. They are a hard team to trust. They are now on a 3-game losing streak, but they also just played the Magic in Orlando and the Thunder. This is a perfect bounce back spot here. Still a top 10 defensive rating team, top 10 3-point shooting team. And by the way, the Nets are 25th defending the 3-ball. Jimmy Butler is questionable with an illness, but this Nets team is just awful. Kind of reminds me of that Lions Bears game when I gave the Lions pick out. That I don't care that the Lions are injured because the Bears are that awful. That's what I'm saying about the Nets here. I expect Tyler Hero to have a good game here. Give me the Heat to just win at home. They're like 9.5-point favorites. I just need them to win. Grizzlies money line. This will obviously be a little bit more competitive. They're facing an actual NBA team. 6-point favorites at home in this one. I just need them to win. Grizzlies quietly playing well. Maybe not quietly. Number 2 seed in the West. Won 8 of the last 10. Now, the competition has not been elite lately. I'm not even going to deny that or anything like that. But this Grizz team has looked good. They're a top 4 rebounding team, top 4 defensive team. They've scored the most points in the paint this season, scored the 3rd most fast break points. Clippers are only average defending the fast break. John Moran is expected back off the injury report. His team is pretty healthy. This team has been battling injuries for like 2 years now. The Grizz are 11-3 straight up as a home favorite. They play well at home, as we saw in the inside the line numbers that we just went over. And then the Clippers, surprisingly playing well, but they're only 6-7 straight up on the road. So it's not like they're just dominating on the road or anything. 4-7 straight up as a road underdog. They tend to dominate when they play some teams that are maybe weaker. They can take advantage in the paint, on the glass. Rebounding defensive teams are a little bit more of a struggle for them, and the Grizz are obviously an elite defensive and rebounding team. And the Clippers, are about average to above average in a ton of categories offensively. They count on Norman Powell to have good shooting nights to leave him open. The Grizzlies don't exactly leave shooters like Norman Powell just wide open like a lot of defenses do. And James Harden, obviously, they're going to rely on those two guys. If one of those two guys has a really bad game, this team struggles offensively, and that's where they can struggle. I like this Grizz team. I think they're coached well. I think they're playing really well. And so I like the Grizz to win at home here. Again, they're 6-point favorites. I think they cover. They've been covering a ton of games at home. But even if it's close and they don't cover the 6, I just need them to win by 1 stinking point. So give me the Heat and the Grizzlies on the money line as my second best bet. All right, this third one takes us out to the ATL where the Hawks host the Minnesota Timberwolves. T-Wolves minus 3.5. Total in this one is 222.5. My best bet is a player prop, and we're going under. Give me Clint Capella under 10.5 rebounds at minus 115 on Bet365. This can be a half unit play for me. So Okongwu is still out, a guy who was sharing the minutes with Clint Capella. It hasn't really mattered because now he's just splitting time with Larry Nance. He's not a guy who's going to play huge minutes normally, but the minutes variation is kind of why I'm doing a half unit here. So real quick, let's go over some Capella numbers. He's under this line in 20 of 29 games this season, so a huge hit rate. Under in all 4 games with Okongwu out. He's averaging only 6.25 rebounds per game in those 4 games with him out, averaging 9.3 rebounds per game on only 14.5 rebound chances per game this season overall. 14.5 rebound chances, not a ton for a guy that needs to get 11 for us to lose. The last 10, he's under in 5 of the last 10, but rebounding has dropped off quite a bit. In 5 of the last 6, he's gone under. So his minutes, they're not very consistent, like I mentioned. As the coach you can kind of tell he kind of just goes with the hot hand and the player that's better for that matchup specifically. But he's averaging 23.4 minutes per game in the last 10. I do know he's not a guy who's going to play 30 plus minutes. So that's good to know, or at least good to see that he's not all of a sudden getting 33, 34 minutes some games. He has 3 games in the last 10 of 18 to 20 minutes and 6 games in between that 24 to 28 minute range. His 14 to 15 rebound chances per game is just not a very high number for a 10.5 rebounds line, especially when you're facing the T-Wolves. They've given up the 10th fewest rebounds to centers in the last 30 days. It's not an easy matchup. We know these guys can rebound in Minnesota with Gobert down there. So there's no head-to-head games to go under or to go off of. I just think this is too low of a number. This is a line for a center that's maybe playing like 30, 32, 33 minutes in my opinion. Now, Capella has had those games like against the Knicks, which is a really tough matchup. He got a crap ton of rebounds. Sometimes he can just pull down some rebounds, but hopefully this is not one of those games. If he just has one of those average games, I'm expecting like 8, 9 rebounds maybe off of like 14 rebound chances. So I think 10.5 is too low. I got to take a shot here. So give me Capella under 10.5 rebounds as my third and final best bet for this video. Sorry, my voice is going out because it's super late. It's almost midnight. So I'm going to have more added plays in the morning. Don't you worry. It'll be in the pinned comments on X and on Discord. Looking for that 3-point parlay again as well. So just want to let you guys know. But that's what we got for today. Before we get out of here, let's check out the recap. All right, before we get to the recap, I think I just said the number's too low on the Clint Capella bet. It's too high, obviously. I'm taking the under is what I meant. But anyways, the first one, Wet Bananas, Wembanyama over 25.5 points plus assists at minus 120 for 1 unit. Heat and Grizzlies, moneyline parlay, minus 123 for another unit. And then Clint Capella under 10.5 rebounds, minus 115. That is a half unit play. More bets will be coming in the pinned comments on X and on Discord. There's a lot of big spreads, so I want to tread carefully. Just because it's a huge slate doesn't mean you have to have a crazy amount of bets or anything. In fact, that's usually when I get into trouble. So I'm going to make sure I pick my spots. But that's the bets I got, and all the research help. Hopefully that helps you get some winners as well. Thank you again, as always, for the support. If you haven't already, go check out that Monday Night Football video. But hope everyone has a great Monday, and we'll talk to you soon.